We've talked about this a ton just together because you and JJ are kind of in this segment of life of retirement. And I think, unfortunately, like it's like inevitable for every athlete as well. I've been retired now. It'll be 3 years in September, which seems like so crazy. But I don't think you're ready to like necessarily prepare for it, just because I remember being told all the time, like, don't put your eggs in one basket. But it was like, how do you not, when this is your dream and your passion that you want to do that? So I never really like thought about it past what I was going to do after I played. And I also just don't think, how do you prepare when you put cleats on every day of your life for 25 years and then one day you just like don't put them on anymore? And I remember watching this like video, and it's pretty famous. I've actually heard a bunch of people talk about it, where Thierry Henry was like, you know, when he talked about retirement, he talked about it was like the death of the athlete that nobody really. And I think in the beginning, I really like felt that in that sense of saying, okay, like I'm just never going to put my cleats on again. But as time's gone on, I feel like there is a lot of different moments in your retirement for people when they say bye. And for him, listening to him talk about it, like he went to the wheels fell off where he's like, I physically like cannot do this. And I think it's different for someone who feels like, you know, I made the decision pretty young, I feel like in my career. And so I feel like you go through that in that phase. And I don't know, the hard thing for me, once as time's gone on, thinking about that, you know, and I'm sure this is what he meant, but for me, it's like, you're like, well, like I could still do that kind of stuff, right? I'm still that same person. I just don't have that outlet. And that was like the most eye-opening, I think, for me, is like, you know, I'm still that competitive person. I'm still this, I'm still that, like my outlet is gone. And I think that was like a process in itself. And I think motherhood has been such a beautiful journey to be able to shift my purpose for sure. And let alone find that I was having twins. I'm like, whoa, what a change in that fact. But I think I'm so interested in your side as well, because you went very different, right? Like I feel like you know, a lot of people dream of having that like closure and that choice to make that decision, which is what I had. And, you know, you came off of an injury, got pregnant. Like, what did that decision look like for you?
Yeah, I think I agree with what you're saying. Like we become, that's our identity is being players, and we played for so long and it's everything we know. And so then ending your career on an injury is hard. That's like the last play I remember so vividly because I tore my ACL. But when I got injured, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure when I got injured that would be my last play, that would be the last game I ever played in. And then I got pregnant, like you said, and was rehabbing. We rehabbed together. And then I just kind of felt like I just knew that it was time, and I had made peace with that. But it doesn't mean that you don't miss it and like mourn that former self. And I think for me, it was really hard. I became a mother so quickly after getting injured. And then that whole identity is so different. And I think anyone, no matter what your job is or what you do, when you become a mother, you kind of go through a bit of an identity crisis because you're just so used to being this former self. And I remember when I had Koa, JJ was still playing, and he, you know, was off for a couple days, and then he went back to work and he went back to playing, and he had a game that weekend. And I remember feeling like, this is tough because you don't get to just go right back, and you don't get to, you know, you kind of see everybody else go back to who they were before, and you never do. And it is beautiful. It's the most beautiful thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
But it is so difficult because it's this like finding your new identity and this new shift that, you know, you were someone for so long and you will never be totally that person again.
Yeah. Did it register that you were no longer like a professional athlete, just because your series was recovery, right? So you're like recovering from an ACL, you get pregnant, then you're recovering from postpartum. So did that shift just into motherhood allow you to be like, okay, like I'm already here, I already feel it, or where were you
I
at?
When I was rehabbing and when we were training together, it was really important for me to have the mindset of I'm going to come back,
Hmm.
just so that I, you know, could get my body back and have something to work towards. Like, you know how difficult it is to come back from having a baby, which was harder for me than my ACL. Like, I remember being out on that field, like we've talked about it, literally like peeing my pants because it's just so different. You've had a baby, your body is not the same, your abs are totally stretched. You're also caring for a child now. Like before, it is all you all the time, your recovery. We were so selfish before we had kids in a good way. And so you have a baby. So like working out and all this isn't your number one priority anymore. It's just not. And so, but I kept that in my mind. Like I kept that like, in case you want to go back on the field, in case you want to play, you have to train as hard as you possibly can, which is all we really know.
Yeah.
And then when I finally knew and like finally made that decision, there was a big shift because it was no longer, I mean, we were at Exos, one of the best training facilities in the world. There's no longer like I'm going into Exos for 3 hours to train. It kind of shifted to, my gym workouts and my Pilates workouts, and like it's just different. Did you, when you went back and you played, did you know before, like, this is my last thing, this is the last, or did you kind of wait, go back, and then say, okay, I'm done? Like, did you make that decision before going back?
When I had Madden, I remember like telling US Soccer, like I just like logistically, I was like, I don't know how to make this work. I don't live in a city that has an NWSL team. Like I had the itch. I was training. I was really surprised actually how quickly that I was able to kind of get back training. And I was like, and they're like, we don't need an answer right now. Like, just take your time, which was great. I just like physically on paper was like, Zach, I just don't know how I'm going to make this happen. And I actually told him like, I can't go back. Like, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to just like retire. And I remember just having those conversations, told it with Zach. And I think he could see it in my eyes that I like wasn't done. Like I just didn't have that like closure piece that I think most athletes, whatever that looks like for them in closure. And went somewhere, I don't know, came back, and like literally he's sitting on the couch with Madden and being like looking at the TV and being like, put highlights, like literally YouTube highlights of myself, which seems so ridiculous.
That's so sweet.
And I know now I feel
really
like it was
sweet.
like so sweet. Like I could get teary eyed because you could just see that Zach wanted to make sure that I made the decision strictly for like what my heart actually wanted versus like logistical, because I feel like the passion of soccer is why it's so hard to say bye, right? Like, cause it's just a piece of you, right? Like I think you want the sport to mourn you. And it doesn't. It just moves on. It's just like, even like the best of the players, right?
Anything.
Like, yeah, like the best players, right? Like I could go through every sport and they'll be like, oh, that's the, even like, the conversation of who's the GOAT and like Michael Jordan, whatever. Like it moves on, like regardless of how good you are, whatever. And I think you're like, well, I'm mourning here. Like soccer, do you want to mourn a little bit with me? And it moves on. And I think that gratitude of the sport that you're like, I'm so thankful for it. It's just like soccer owes me nothing. It's like, I just owe my whole life, right? Like even just like us, like our friendship, like how long we've known each other. And I think soccer just brings you so many of that and so many experiences that I would have never had without it. And so I think that part of it and that locker room piece, the just being able to like find you and like be in a space that you can just learn and just, totally strips you of like, gosh, I have to rebuild myself in different ways that you didn't think and challenge yourself. And I think that allows confidence in just everything you do. And that's what I love about the sport. But
we have a really cool video, Julie. I want to play it and get your reaction because it's amazing.
And with the US leading by 2-0 in the 35th minute in Cincinnati, this is the moment for Julie Ertz to bid farewell and bring the curtain down on a wonderful career.
Like, what do you feel when you watch that?
Yeah, it's interesting because it's like a place that I wouldn't change where I'm at now. Like I love it. But it's like a place that you just don't have anymore, you know? So it's like a piece of you like you don't know. I wasn't expecting to have a farewell game. And I think that is what was like allowed me to like really process it, right? Because I said I was just going to be done before the logistics of my life didn't make sense. And they were like, we'd like to give you, you know, a few minutes at least to basically like say bye. And it was probably the best gift you can give somebody that like wants to retire, like that is retiring, really, to be able to like step off the field knowing that you have one last time. And so, I mean, I feel like I was more emotional watching the film than that day, just because I was able to process it. And it's like, you know, FaceTime Madden right before like I walked out. And so I think it was just like more of a very peaceful feeling. And there was no noise, right? Like I've never really been able to hear the crowd. I honestly barely hear my teammates. That they probably hated that because I just blacked out, you know, you almost just get in this zone. And so it was just a very peaceful moment. Like if I could explain being back in like your, you know, 9-year-old self when I like fell in love with the sport. And it was just like a moment of peace watching off the field. And I just wanted to just say thank you to my teammates. It was more as a moment of gratitude for sure. I think just being able to walk off and just be like, okay, on like moving on. I was at peace, made the choice. But I've learned that like two things can be the same. That's what's been hard. Like two emotions can be the same. I can be excited for the next phase and I can be really sad. That piece is like gone. And I had to like be okay. I'm like, it's okay to feel both. Where before I felt like I had to be like either.
I feel like until we are old enough to where we truly could not play anymore, and all the players that we've played with have retired, there will always be that like little piece of you that's like, should I go play? Or like, I wish I could like step until we're like
no.
50. I think we'll always kind of feel that little inkling of like, I wish I could step back out on the field.